Show is a live broadcast of truth seekers and believers, empowering the evolution of consciousness. Raphael and Celeste will dive deeper than the mainstream media while answering the mind's deeper questions and transforming conversations. They will have unique guest speakers who will share knowledge, tools, and techniques to create coherence in our mind, body, and spirit.
There we are. Hello.
Hello. Good morning to New York.
Good evening to Queensland. How are you?
Well, no. This is now the new studio. Like it's still been set up, but we are in beautiful Byron Bay now in New South Wales.
Byron Bay. Right.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Beautiful mountains, ocean, a lot of rain today. But that's a good thing for us, Raphael, because we fill up the water tanks, our vegetables get water, our beautiful gardens. It's great. And it's the blessings, right, of Mother Nature.
It is a blessing. Mother Nature is a blessing, isn't she? So many of us take it for granted, all the things, all the beautiful things that have happened because of Mother Nature. But don't worry, Mother Nature gets mad too, right?
She does. And the thing is, she will always win. And I think now, especially, we are at a time where we haven't been probably treating, or we are not treating her with our most respect. So I think with the next few episodes coming up, we are inviting people that will be talking not just about our human energy and our mental health, but also the energy we're projecting out onto Mother Nature, which is imbalancing her natural flow. So, for example, with today, I chose to talk a little bit about electromagnetic fields. And that is the typical example of, like, it's almost like we're zapping her. It's like, I understand we are going into modern technology. We're using, schools. It's all really just about all the benefits we're going to have, how we can communicate easier, nonstop, 24/7. Don't miss out on the things that are happening on social media. But with this episode, I just want everyone to remember, though, electromagnetic fields does really interfere with your health, physically and also mental health. And you can buy devices I'm talking about from $5 to probably $500 worth, but around that $50 range, you're going to get a really good EMF reader. And you can go around your home and your different rooms, and you can measure how much electromagnetic fields are in that environment. And when it comes to protecting ourselves daily, but still enjoying the modern world we live in, like right now, Raphael, we're talking to each other through electromagnetic fields, through all of this amazing technology. But it's to a point where which hours of the day do you unplug? Because the unplug is what's going to support us to have a kind and a calm thinking pattern. And I believe that this interference is really sort of that sensory overload that's not constantly comes. So it's unplugging. When do we take the time to unplug?
I want to go back to the magnetic field. I think that if you took that meter and came into this room, it would be off the charts because of my magnetic personality.
Yeah,
Just
fine.
kidding.
Well done,
Just
Raphael. Joke of today.
well, I do want to I do want to touch upon, because in our description of this today's show, we were going to have a guest with us, and he was going to talk about the coral reef and all the things that are happening in the world and the kind of work he's doing. Hopefully he's okay. Things happen in nature sometimes in our natural body. Maybe he's sick, maybe he could not connect. So I do not blame anyone for not showing up, but maybe circumstances, maybe things out of their control, right? Because I've been doing this long enough that I know that not everyone always shows up. One of the things that I do, and you know this, Celeste, I always show up. there has to be an earth-shattering event for me not to show up, right? So
We have a dedication to the show, which has been wonderful.
right, but and that's where time management comes in. You were talking about time management, and now I'm up to 5 shows, and people are like, "How do you take the time? How do you do all the things you do? You have other businesses. Where, how, why?"
Why?
N-
That's the beautiful keyword.
That so why? Why do I do what I do? Simple, because I can. But in reality, it's because I understand my why. It that's the purpose, right? Mine is to connect people.
Mm.
My why is to be a facilitator of knowledge, to help people become more. So for me, it's almost like I'm a little preacher, right? I'm a little preacher. I'm preaching to the choir sometimes because people know what they know, but sometimes they need to be reminded of what they know. So many
Yes.
people forget, forget where they came from, forget how they got there. They even forget how to live. So many of us don't take care of our health, and that's forgetting how to live.
Mm.
That's an important aspect because, listen, by the way, is it this week? Yeah. In 2 days, I have a birthday, and I don't take any medication
Good. We are
at
very proud
all.
of you.
Yeah, yeah.
What's
So
what's the big- what's the plan? Do you have a dinner in New York? What's the plan? Share it with us.
the plan is to live to the fullest. The
Great.
plan is to be present. I'm throwing myself a birthday party, but here's the funny thing. The party's not for me. The party is so I can connect with more people.
Mm.
So I'm inviting all my members, all my clients, and so they can get to know each other through me.
In
So I am that connector. I went the other day and I bought tons of drinks, and I'm not talking about alcoholic. I'm not talking about soda. I'm talking about different flavored waters. I'm talking about, juices. Yes, I know that the juices are going to have sugar, but once in a blue, it doesn't hurt you. And
mm.
especially because little kids, if you tell little kids, yes, come to the party, all we have is water,
Water.
they're not going to show up. So,
No.
we have all different kinds of goodies once in a blue, but one thing I will not have at my party is soda
Mhm.
at all. At all.
The beautiful thing is you said that everyone's coming together and they connect. And the beautiful thing is they're all going to be there in person,
Mm,
and that is exactly going back to how much time are you prioritizing to be
right.
around real people, and how much are
Mhm,
you prioritizing to be on your phone, to be on your laptop, or to be on social media apps.
right.
Like, I was reading about metaverse, and we all know it's $100 billion business. They own
Oof.
Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, Oculus, Onova, etc., etc. And one of the things that shined out to me was over 97% their income is really just advertising of
Mhm,
products, services, games, lifestyle choices, what food to eat.
right,
And I sort of go, well, wait a minute. So we are all actually being sort of, sucked into and seduced into being on our devices to actually then have that sensory of this is what I need. This is what I need. So
right.
prioritizing time. How much time do you have to constantly just see advertisement and how much time do you actually spend really talking, let's say, face to face with someone. So I really want people to keep in mind that, yes, it's amazing how we can share videos, like this, the podcast, the broadcasts, but keep in mind that 97% of all the daily usages, all that money comes in, that's from sales, purely just showing you things. To buy something, or I need this to be more beautiful. I need this to be more, more intelligent or more likable by other people. Right. Another thing I was looking into is how many hours per day on an average people spend on their devices. And the shocking thing was that this is America and Australia based, 7.5 hours a day, Raphael. That is an average of a child being on a computer, iPad, iPhone, any form of device. That's a lot of hours, Raphael. I don't even know when and how you would fit that in.
Well, you know what I've seen a lot? I see a lot of parents give a tablet to their 3, 4, 5, 6, 7-year-old to occupy them because they don't want to spend time with them, or they're too busy for them. My statement to that is, don't have kids. Don't have kids. If you're not going to spend time with them, why do you have them? Is it because it's a status? Is it because it's expected of you? We would have a better world if people thought about their actions. Why am I doing something? Why do I want a child? Why do I want to bring another person into this world if I'm not going to guide them, if I'm not going to help them, if I'm not going to educate them, if I'm not going to teach them how to be a better person?
Which goes back to time management. Do you really want to spend that time every day? Yeah, that's a really, really good point. But 7.5 hours, that's a lot of manipulation and almost, brainwashing of, again, going back, 79% is all just sales of things.
It's crazy.
It really is. I use WhatsApp as well, because that's
What's
another
up?
company. What's up? That's right.
What's up?
No matter in which country, it's what's up. But that was actually purchased for apparently $19 billion. So the two guys that produced all of this, Metaverse, turned around and they bought this app for $19 billion. So well done on these guys. But with WhatsApp, so this is per day. This is an average on per day. 20 billion messages, 200 million voice messages, and 100 million video messages per day. So that's from that average of where I really want to get the numbers right, 3.70 billion users a day. So, I'm mentioning this. Hi from England. What time and what weather is it there? I bet you it's raining over there too in England. It's always raining in England. But, when you look at these numbers, you're like, wow. So we've got, nearly 4 billion people using just these particular apps. We're looking into like 7 hours a day. That's in your free time. Yeah. And we're looking at the money making, so keep in mind that spending time outside will also, probably cost you less because you're less manipulated to buy lots of things.
Yes.
And you're going to be a lot healthier and happier because you have a little bit less to worry about. But most of all, you're just actually away from the electromagnetic fields. And it really just brings me back to time management. Set yourself times when you're on social media. But are you really on social media connecting with people, or are you just scrolling? This scrolling behavior, almost, I'm going to call it.
Yeah.
It gives. Yeah.
One of the things is when I was a kid, I didn't have this stuff. You either, right?
No.
Because you were in the
Theater.
theater anyway.
Yeah, I was a theater baby. I was playing behind road cases.
But here's the thing. I see so many little kids now angry. And I see kids crying when their parents take away the phones from them. It's something I never had. I always played outside, always. And I was never in front of the television for hours upon hours upon hours. I was always doing something. One of the reasons I think it's also the reason I like doing things with my hands. That's why I own a wood shop, right? So I like to create, I like to build, I like to make something out of nothing. And when we think about the technology has done amazing things for us. It's allowing us to be together today, right? We're so far away, but I feel like you're right there. I feel like I
Yes.
can reach out for you,
And
right?
every week.
And every week, right?
And every week.
Yes. But when we think about technology has made great advances in mankind, it's allowed us to go to the moon. It's allowed us to communicate. Imagine the radio waves that we can communicate with a shuttle in space, right? But it's also hurt so many people because you, like you said, 7.5 hours is a long time out of a day for someone to be on their phone, their tablet, in front of a television. When we
And also
think about
18. This is that 7.5 hours is under 18-year-olds.
ooh,
And that's the scary part of it. I'm so sorry to interrupt, but I really wanted to point that part out, that this is where still the brain development is happening, personality development, and it's all just that scrolling, and it's interfering with our electrical current. These are young kids still. I
yeah,
wonder if we could bring up, if I would be a president, like no phones until the age of 18. I wouldn't survive a day. They would all gang up together, all the children and the teenagers.
oh yeah, it'd
There'd
be
be a
beyond a right. So this thing, right? It's our phone. Should be what? A tool. A tool. And there is something you can go into your settings and see how long
That's
you've been
correct.
on
Yeah.
it. And everybody should do that today, right? Go on your settings and see how long have you been on the device.
Yeah.
And it'll tell you. It'll tell you how long you've been on, what
And
platforms you've been on. So,
it's a very good tool also for parents to see from how many hours were Instagram, WhatsApp, certain, like all the different programs, even right down to the gaming apps on your phone. So you can see, 40% this, 30% this, 10% that, 5% homework, and the
or
hours.
like
So
0.5% homework.
yes, that's right. And by the hours, you can also see daytime, nighttime. So, I think we just lost all the viewers under the age of 18 for our show, but with this
They were
episode,
never
because
here. They were
showing
never
reality.
here. So let's be honest. One of the things, unless we have people parading and all this kind of stuff, we're not going to get teenagers on our show. And if they do, I want to know about it because I want to know what makes them different. Because anybody who wants to learn should be on our show. That is for sure. We are very educational. We're very entertaining, but we're very honest with what we bring you guys.
Yeah.
So let's consider everything we've always talked about. And viewer discretion, be advised. We don't use foul language on this show, but we do want to let you know that this show is worldwide. We
Yeah.
are all over the world. I have people following us from everywhere, from my country. I'm Colombian, from Colombia, from everywhere, Israel, everywhere in the world. People can see this show, and that's the beauty of what technology can
Yeah.
do for us. That is an amazing aspect that, listen, somebody in Yugoslavia can be watching us right now. Hello, Spain.
Yeah.
Hello, world. But if we are here to tell you the truth, and that's why the Seer Show is based on the truth. It's based on what we believe to be the truth. But here's the thing that I always tell people: don't believe me. Don't believe me.
Research it
Find
yourself.
out for yourself. Do the research. We're here just to guide you in a direction that you can be here with us, right? So, yes, I want you all to come to New York in July for the Heroes Rising Apex. We have great things. One of the things that we want people to start doing is consider coming to New York and
Yeah.
find like-minded people, people who are going to not only educate, but share their knowledge, share their stories, understand that community is built upon people who know more, less, or the same. But we cannot be in a community of people who think exactly the same because it would be boring.
Yes, and nothing would
Boring.
develop, nothing would change. And
Right.
I think that's the beautiful part. We always have to keep in mind by meeting other people and learn their ways, we always develop a little bit. And even the Dalai Lama says nothing stays the same. We
Yeah.
have to grow, we have to develop.
Mhm.
And with this episode, we were talking about prioritizing time to be social with real people and not so much on social media. This event is an example.
Right.
It's the right minded people, and you're expanding your knowledge, and you're also that kind of energy with the real person in front of you. And that's where you won't have that central nervous system and your nerve cells being attacked. you
Mhm.
know Watching quite a few documentaries, obviously, the last few days on how electromagnetic field is damages our tissue of the cell. And we constantly talk about being fatigued, being nervous, being, bad tempered. Some people talk about depression or anxiety, panic attacks. All these things go back to the nervous system, and that is being interfered by electromagnetic fields. So instead of being in all these devices and trying to constantly connect with people, go out into the real world and connect, as you said, with the community around you, where you live, and or fly to New York in July. As an example, as an example. So, and again, if you reach out on certain professional platforms, like Raphael, we use LinkedIn a lot. In
We
America
do.
and Australia, LinkedIn is very famous for still being business professional. That's an amazing place to also see who's in your area.
Yeah, yeah. I've made so many connections on LinkedIn. And one of the connections I don't like is when I connect to somebody and immediately they want to sell me something. I'm like, wait a minute, what are you doing? They don't even say, hey, how are you? They're like, hey, buy my product. What? Why?
Well, it's usually the automated, pre-written,
Yeah, yeah,
ads that will
yeah.
make you. Which again, like we just spoke about, over 97% of
Mhm.
metaverse. That's all just advertising, because you
Yeah.
download the apps for free, you use them for free, but people put the extra ads on, and there's a
Yeah.
reason why they make so much money with it.
There's a reason it's free. It's not free.
No. Selling your soul to more online shopping.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
Even
for sure.
Instagram has so many advertising for really good fashion, all these different products now. So,
Mm,
with Instagram, it's really been used for selling things. Look at TikTok, it's Chinese owned. Put one and one
mm.
together, guys. The Chinese had no interest in giving all of us another little chitty chat platform. They want to sell us something, and they want to see through your profile what you like, what you don't like, what you
You know
research.
what? When you talk about TikTok, in China, if you opened up TikTok in China on a Chinese phone, I guess, they don't have the junk that we get. You know what they have? Educational stuff.
Hmm,
Big difference. Big
big
difference. Because
difference.
guess what? They're trying to dumb us down, but they don't do that to their own people. So that's really what's going on. So if you look at TikTok in Asia, none of it is all this junk that we see. You would see something totally, totally different. And this is secondhand. I haven't seen it myself, but this is what I was told. Do I
Mm,
believe it? Not
mm.
yet. I have to see it.
So the
But
Chinese,
sounds interesting, right?
yeah, throw the comments at us, please. Let us know.
Let us
Let
know
us
if
know.
you're in China and what
Mm,
your TikTok looks like. We'd love to
mm,
know. Inquiring minds want to know.
that's right. Another thing I was wanting to mention today is because we always talk about mental health. That's one of our main beautiful purposes, Raphael, why we do
Mm,
and talk every week and invite guest speakers is because we want everyone to be not just always cheerful and solar plexus, shining bright. We know life
mm,
is hard. Okay, we know this. Both of us know this, but we care for people to adapt little things in their life to have more of that well-being in
mhm.
physical and mental health. And
Right.
I truly personally believe that electromagnetic fields, all the research that they have shared over the last 20, 30 years, does
Mm,
interfere a lot with our nervous system. And it always goes back to the nerve cells that trigger people to have certain mental health issues. They trigger them
mhm,
for it to be worse in some cases. Now, it's not the cause, because often it's genetics, it's environmental based, it's drug abuse, maybe.
right.
However, though, if you already have a condition and you're also surrounded by these electromagnetic fields, it's going to destroy the tissue of the nerve system, the nerve growth of the cells as
Mhm,
well.
right.
So it goes back to time management. If you're realizing that you always have this sensory overload, or even with children, if they're hyperactive, unplug. You need that time where your body can completely just you're smiling a lot.
I am because I'm wondering. Look, I'm seeing books behind me. Could we
Oh,
start reading more? Could
breathing.
we start going into an adventure with our lives? Can we impart knowledge? Can we impart adventure? Can we impart storytelling instead
Storytelling.
of instead of brain, like that's what's
Yeah.
happening, right? So we're not communicating correctly. And so many adults are doing the same thing that they're telling the kids not to do. They're on the phones all the time, they're on the tablet. I
Mm.
have I have a client of mine. He's 22. He's autistic. Okay. So he can't drive, he can't do anything. But when he comes in, his mother brings him. Sweetheart of a kid. I do an hour session with him. His mother sits in my lobby on the phone the whole hour.
Mm.
The whole hour. And I can see her, and even as she's walking and she's like this, and then she's there the whole time. And I'm like, wow. In the beginning, when she first came, she used to sit in the room with us and watch me work with him. And he's been with me, wow, this summer will be a year. And I would say about 9, going on 10 months. I see him, I started with once a week. And then she said, "You're doing such amazing work with my son. Can we do twice a week?" I said, "Sure." And then I went to 3 times a week. And she used to come in and sit in the room with us and watch him. And then when she realized that who I am, she's like, "I don't need to
Trust.
be there anymore." So now she's like, she drops him off. She goes out shopping. She does all these things. I appreciate the comfort, but once in a while, I think it would be nice for her to come back in the room, sit for even for 10 minutes and watch the work that her son is doing. Yes, he is 22. Yes, he is considered an adult, but mentally he's not an adult. He's a child. But it's that comment I made earlier. Why do we have children?
Mm.
Do we communicate with them? And our actions always speak louder than our words.
That's right, especially with parenting. You
Mm.
know, I think it's great though that this is a mother though who is financially also prioritizing her finances for the child to actually go and have one-on-one training with someone. That's very to be complimented. But yes, of course, any parent should watch more or even
Mm.
participate. But in a way, it's very beautiful because she could also go, I'm not going to financially afford that, and just have him on the iPad because it's easier. But then
Mm.
again, with autism, the question is, if you are around even more electromagnetic fields, it will probably set off the behavioral even more and trigger it even more.
Yeah.
So she's really doing the right thing and having him in classes.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, you talk about electromagnetic fields and the damage it can cause us. When I had my business in another town, one of my businesses in another town, I would say in a community about 1,000 feet from where I was, there was a block of houses. And out of the 30 houses, I think it was 18 houses, everybody got cancer. They didn't have cancer before they moved into that neighborhood, but everybody had some sort of cancer once they were living there for a couple of years. And it became like a hub. So can you imagine the devastation for these families who are like, wait a minute, you have cancer, you have cancer, you have cancer, my neighbor has cancer, the person across the street has cancer. And it's all because of where they moved into the community, something in the ground maybe. So it's pretty scary when we think about, what can
Absolutely.
happen.
I was, especially here in Byron Bay, but I think everywhere, people are fighting against the 5G towers.
Mm,
So in terms of we don't need 5G towers everywhere, because again, the positive thing is if you have a huge university or a hospital, please, by all means, have 5G, especially, ambulance, police, fire brigade, they need the 5G.
mm,
But when it comes to normal suburban homes, I personally am one of these people that are fighting against the 5G everywhere. And I was reading articles about even just from power lines, 90 meters, which is 30 feet, is the absolute minimum from one of these meters that you can purchase yourself from $5, $50, where they say it's almost like okay to live. Now, 19 meters from, that's just normal power lines.
Wow.
Yet alone with the 5G towers, they reckon 1/2 a kilometer.
Wow.
So it's this awful thing where, yes, we need the technology in our hospitals. Yes, we, I, for example, I have people that work in the music industry. They have huge music studios. I have friends that are DJs, and they have the electromagnetic, it's almost like they're frying their testicles and their ovaries, every evening, yet they're here working in the most beautiful music industry. We can't always escape it. Right now, I have, electromagnetic fields in this part of my home that I've set up, because purposely on the other side of the home is my bedroom. So for me, again, interior design wise, I've split my home into 2 spaces.
Right.
And for the alarm clock, I then have to get up and I have to walk and turn it off. So I'm one of these people. I'm not like you that just jumps out of bed and enjoys the cold shower and like you're I'm not like you. I'm very happy for you for doing that. I envy you. But I'm one of these.
I did take a cold shower earlier today.
Of course you did. I'm actually, well, I tell you what, next week we have an amazing guest speaker who actually talks about ice bucketing, and I'm super excited. We might add a little video of me doing an ice bucket. We'll see.
Oh yeah, let's do that.
If he doesn't pull me out fainted and I look all floppy and ugly, then no. And if I cry, then no. But
Why not?
But this is just an example. I have a studio as well at home, but I purposely have built up my home to have a separation. And so it goes back also to time management, space management, interior design management. Anyone can do it. Anyone can do it. But going back to the 5G towers, 1/2 a kilometer apparently, and this is what the government is willing to release into public information. Now, if they're saying 1/2 a kilometer, Raphael, I think that means 3. And if they say 19 meters for power lines, it's probably again like a kilometer or more. Yeah, that's fine. So there's one paragraph I wanted to read out, which was released in 2018 to the openly by the government to the Australians. And so if they're already admitting to this, could you imagine how much worse it is? So this is 2018. Clearly noting that long-term low-dose electromagnetic radiation exposed. I love the way they have the low dose to keep them out of, what's the description of low dose? Yeah. Can lead to central nervous system dysfunction and cause neurobehavioral disorders, including headaches, fatigue, anxiety, and depression. And I thought, wow, that's if they're admitting that, it's almost like, how bad is it then, really? And what do they mean by long-term low dosage of electromagnetic fields? So again, we really want to remind people with this episode, not just to be out in beautiful Mother Nature. That's what she's there for. She wants us to go out and ground and socialize out there and be unplugged. But this is a huge reminder of, it's not just being brainwashed by advertising, all these different things, what the difference between desire and necessity, but it truly is destroying your central nervous system if you have too much of it, Raphael. So when it comes to any form of well-being, you've got to unplug. Not on Tuesdays, of course, because that's when our show is on.
Sometimes when we go out to Mother Nature, make sure we're not underneath one of these big towers. right?
Yeah.
So make sure that you go by the trees, not the towers. It does start with a T.
Go
So
and hug a tree.
hug a tree, hug a tree.
Hug a tree.
Don't hug a tree that hugs you back. Be careful. So
Or cactus.
in Chinese martial arts, we do a pose. It looks, your arms are out, shoulder width apart. I'll sit back a little. So
Yeah,
it's
show
like
me how to do it.
you're sitting like this, right? And you're breathing. So but you want to make sure you're rounded. Like some people do it, like like they're holding onto a square tree. There's no such thing. They get shaped that way. But a round, natural tree. So
Like a
put your arms
ballerina
around.
around.
Yeah, feel the energy going from one finger, your fingers to the other, jumping, because we are magnetic anyway. And we did
That's right.
talk about my personality, right? But when we do this, you can feel your own energy. You can feel the beauty that we have inside of us. And when we have things that are not natural, they affect that beauty that we have. So a lot of times it's called tree hugging, right? It's a pose. We hold the pose. And a lot of people have a hard time because how long can you hold your hands out like this for? All of a sudden, their arms are getting tired. You feel your shoulders. But then that's when you start to feel alive.
Mm,
Feel
that's so
alive.
interesting. Do you
Mm.
learn this like at the beginning or right at the end of the black belt? When does this come in?
Anytime you want it.
Yeah.
So, so when it's like qigong, right? It's the Chinese mythology of breathing, thinking, being. So when we think about us as part of this universe of ours, we are energy. And you know this more than anybody else, right? We are energy. We matter. Literally,
Yeah.
we matter. And we're made up of matter.
We are. And we are meant to share that vibrational energy that really just truly comes from a calm, and I would also say almost a root chakra confident calmness of peace.
Mm.
Because very often, again, we have such sensory overload of things that are happening at work, neighbors, the school teacher, the annoying person that's always next to us, maybe in a certain hobby, in a knitting class. We were always going to have something that's going to interfere with our
Mm.
vibration. And it takes a lot to step back
Mm.
and first understand where is that coming from? Why is that person vibrating on that kind of energy?
Right.
And how can we not take it on, but actually just project love back?
Yeah.
Yeah. On that natural flow, that conversation, one of the sad things that I was witnessing or was researching about pure evidence of how electromagnetic fields really interfere with you, because don't forget, we have all the big companies that go, no, 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 it's okay. Well, you
Mm.
can maybe cause neurobehavioral disorders, but they're still trying to hide it a lot, Raphael. But
Mm-hmm.
when you watch documentaries like on birds or bees, when you add electromagnetic fields, low dose electromagnetic fields, let's just say, they actually either or lose orientation and die, or their
Mm.
immune system will crumble and die. And
Oh.
sometimes, though, they're smart enough and they move. They just leave. The bees leave. But to see the evidence and all very heartbreaking documentaries of beekeepers also engaging and wanting to be part of this research. So in a way, these people are doing the right thing in trying to prove how bad it's interfering with, eating out tissues around our nervous cells, but
Right.
also then seeing how bees will drop dead. all of them, and that, or they lose their orientation. So it can't be that much difference for us humans. Genetically wise, we can see in the behavior of animals, especially with birds as well. The murmurations, I love watching all of that. And you put certain electromagnetic fields out there, they lose orientation and they'll die because they don't have that natural flow of going around certain areas in the planet. Right. So again, we're talking about mental health in terms of sensory overload. We're talking about animals losing their orientation and dying because it's not their natural electrical current as well. Just like us, they have their current, especially bees. So the information is out there. There's some really, really sad documentaries. Maybe don't watch them with small kids. I was crying. So but mind you, I do. When it comes to animals, I'm very sensitive. I'm a bit more tough when it comes to humans, but any form of animal abuse, I'm a softie, Raphael. I'm an absolute softie.
Well, yeah. Think about it. Most animals cannot protect themselves against humans, right? And because not me personally, but people have hunted them. People go after certain animals for what they can do with them, like elephant tusks, tigers, all these different things. And
shark fins.
Oh, listen, when I went to Chinatown and here in New York City, and I would go, this is before before some people stepped in many years back, when people would take all these animals and use them for their own purpose, if you will. So I would go into the Chinese herbologist store, and you can get things from tigers, you can get things from all different kinds of animals. And I was like, I would be looking, I was like, wow, this is an herb store. Meanwhile, they have like tiger this, da 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 da, and I'm like, wow. And people are actually using this stuff, and it was really interesting. And so sometimes they use the products of animals to heal a human. That I understand somewhat, right? But do we always need to hurt someone else in order to become better? Do we need to hurt an animal so that we can heal? So it's a two-edged sword there.
Yeah, but honestly, again, being so open on this episode, we don't need to skin dogs alive on the side of the street to have any form of healing effect from that meat, guys. I'm going to tell you right now, this is 2023, and I think it's absolutely disgusting that these laws still exist. And I have no problems in saying this to the world. And talking about vibrational level, you cannot possibly tell me the vibration of a live skinned animal is going to do you any good.
Right. Agreed. Well, not at all.
In fact, I mentioned that one on my electromagnetic field episode, Raphael. Let's go back to Mother Nature. Because we're nearly at the end of our episode, so we got carried away. So let's go back to the beautiful purpose that we had today. The purpose of sharing episodes like this, the purpose that we always have is sharing knowledge, sharing inspirations, but then for other people to go out and research it for how they need that information in their life. Because as we spoke with one of our other guest speakers, we can sometimes talk, but the person's not hearing it because it's not in the aspect as they see it. But they might have one or two little keywords, and they'll go off and research something, and it will open up other channels or passages in their lives or chapters.
Yeah.
and
Without a
inspire
doubt.
them to, change to something good.
Celeste, one of the things that we are talking about Mother Nature, but it's the more and more I think about our Earth, the planet, think about all the different species that are out there, not only of humans or animals or plants or fish, all the different things on land, all the different things in the air, all the different things in the sea, the creativity. So a lot of people talk about the Big Bang. People talk about it's God who made all these things happen. But it's still so fascinating to me to think that a fish is a fish because it is the way it is. It's built, right? And then we have an ant, and it is what it is. And
So
think about the power of an ant. An ant can carry something
yeah.
like, or a spider. Think about what a spider can do. It's
I wish I would have
incredible.
had some ants here with all my removal boxes. They would have been a lot easier than for humans to carry it.
and they would know
No,
where to go.
yeah, that's fine. No, it's true. I mean, I'm very blessed. I always hold the podcasts with you coming from beautiful nature, and
Mm,
we have snakes in our garden.
mm,
Uh, we have big geckos. We have sharks in the ocean every day, close to us.
yeah,
We have lots of very big spiders. I'm not scared of them, so I'm okay. But I know a lot of people struggle here in Australia because they are big. The next
right.
time I actually get a big one, because I always carry them respectfully outside, or I just leave them inside because they eat the mosquitoes. But next time I maybe have a big one in a jar, I might I might show it for people to see. So we're here in Australia. We are so blessed, Raphael. We have the most fascinating wildlife. I wake
Mm.
up to very noisy, chatty kookaburras and lorikeets. For the Australians, they know exactly what I mean. They get very chatty in the morning. They have so much to discuss what they're doing every day. So as soon as like that 4, 5 in the morning, bah, 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 bah,
You know
they
what they're
wake
doing?
us up.
You want me to tell you what they're doing?
Tell me.
They're doing what most people should do. They're planning their day.
Yes. In their community, personally with each other,
Mhm.
not through their phones.
Yeah, that's right. They are planning the day and the way we should plan our day. So for me, planning my day is part of that time management, knowing what I'm doing, how I'm doing it, knowing my why, knowing my purpose.
Yeah.
It is down to that communication, even if it's by yourself.
Yeah.
Even if,
Absolutely.
I was driving the other day. Well, I drive every day, by the way, but and I see somebody next to me, and they're talking and laughing, and I'm like, before smartphones, before smartphones, we would have said, "Man, that person's
It's
crazy."
crazy. Yes,
But
so true.
now we understand that they're on their phone and they're having a conversation, but sometimes they're laughing and they're doing hand
Mm.
gestures while they're driving because a lot of people still
It's a cultural
communicate.
thing, Raphael. It's a
Of
cultural
course.
thing.
No, you know what? I think communicating with our hands is an exceptional way of communicating because it's being animated. And I think being animated when we communicate, when we tell a story, is so much more engaging than if we
Yeah.
talk and we cross our arms and we just say
Especially no
something.
crossed arms.
Yeah, I think that there's a lot more engagement when we use our hands.
Mm, there is.
There is a lot more.
Well, there's a lot more. There's a lot more. And, we actually went into a few subjects today that would be so interesting as guest speakers. When I was watching these documentaries with bees, for example, if we have guest speakers that can tell us more about
Mm,
things. You can tell us more about morning routines with time management, all these different things, But it also, as we often say, it's the purpose. We love inviting people that have a good purpose in life.
Mm-hmm.
And when it comes to time management, if you have your personal purposes right, you'll automatically, your time management and your priorities will fall into place. I
Oh,
can
really?
guarantee you that. If your heart's at the right place with the purpose, the schedule will fall into place. It will. It
Yeah.
really will.
If your heart's not in the right place, you got to push it over, push it into the right place. Make sure it fits with your life. Make sure it fits into the community. Because
Yeah.
if you're not coming forth with your heart, I believe you're coming in with self and a negative self, right? But when we come in fully with ourselves, we come in heart centered. I think that's a bigger way to enter into any room. What's flying over there?
No, the rain is really, really strong, and I'm not sure if you can hear it through the sound system. So,
No.
building up the studio, I might have to have more sound. We're going into the beautiful winter season here, so we're going into like autumn, and we have a lot of rain here. So I might have to I'm learning about the new home and the new space.
Mm.
So if you hear rain, it's a blessing. I'm sorry, guys. Mother
Mm.
Nature obviously wants to be louder than our voices. She has something to say.
One of the calmest parts of me being at my martial arts school is when it rains. I'm going to tell you why. We have a metal roof, and you
Oh,
hear it,
yes.
and it's pa 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 pa,
Yeah.
and it's so calming. There's a meditation that I teach. I call it sandbag, right? And I'm going to explain that, and I know what we're going to be wrapping it up. So what I do is I have people lay down, and they imagine they're a sandbag with tiny little holes along the side of your body, all alongside your body. And with every breath you take in, sand leaves your body.
I love that.
So what winds up happening is that you start as this heavy bag, and the more sand that leaves your body, you become lighter and lighter and lighter. And then I take them through a meditation where they become so light that they start to float. And then they can look back down and see their own body laying down. And then once you get there, you feel the wind and the air around you. And then all of a sudden you start to float further and further away. And then because you are light, you are air, you float anywhere in the world. And I've taken people, and here's the funniest thing. People get so deep into this meditation that they fall asleep.
Oh, bless. Yes. Good.
It's
Good.
such a beautiful thing. It's that sometimes we're done and I'm like, hey, that person's still laying down. I said, leave them alone.
Yeah,
It's
let them
okay.
rest.
Let them
They
rest.
have
They needed it.
their current electromagnetic field by themselves, their natural field.
So I want you to
Well,
try that, Celeste.
I will. I love the sandbag version. Absolutely. Absolutely. My mother, obviously, she has a ballet school and she goes through meditation with all her beautiful little ballerinas. And I was just thinking, I wonder if she would tell these beautiful little ballerinas to be heavy sandbags and to let us go, like it suits the karate and, the mixed martial arts boys probably a bit better. But no,
Yeah.
it's so true. Again, take your time for meditation.
Yeah.
And if you feel like you can't meditate because you've got so many thoughts, it's okay. You'll get there, but do it every day. If it means classical music, lavender, essential oils, all these different things, unplug. Okay. So no, no devices around you. Just keep trying. It will come, and be kind to yourself. And then have an ice bath afterwards. That's the subject we're going to be talking about next week.
I can meditate in the middle of chaos.
But you also have a black belt. So.
I can do it even if I'm not wearing my black belt. It's understanding that every moment is a beautiful moment.
Yeah.
I think that that's where we're all missing these things, because we're letting other things, other worldly things like cell phones and all these different things take away from us the beauty that we have. So what's the calmest place in a storm?
The center.
Where the eye is, right?
Where the eye of the tornado is, that's right.
That is the calmest, most serene place in the world. Well, Celeste, it's always a super duper pleasure spending time with you. I can't wait. Big hugs when you come to New York. Big hugs. It's going to be an amazing time.
That's
I
right.
want everybody.
We want everyone.
We are so excited. We are so excited.
You know, everyone has our contact details. So for all the followers and listeners from all around the world, if you speak English, if not, bring one of the, bring a translator, but everyone is welcomed.
Oh, yeah,
absolutely.
We're going to have a blast. We are looking forward to seeing everybody next week when we bring. Do you want to tell him his name?
Well, I can't actually say the Iceman, because I think there is a person.
There's another Iceman.
Iceman, yeah. So he is everything and above, from fitness, meditation to physio to well-being. Most of all, breath work. So mental health, physical breath work, and also ice bucketing.
Wow, sounds like we're gonna have a blast.
That's right. Okay, my love, and to all and the above and below on the whole planet. We'll see you next week again.
Have an exceptional day, everybody. Bye-bye.
Ciao. Good night.
Good day.